In a sport where personal rivalry often fuels the biggest paydays, Team Khabib's unwavering loyalty challenges everything we know about MMA. As the bonds of brotherhood grow stronger within the camp, it raises the question, can fighters choose respect over rivalry, or will career ambitions eventually force even the closest of brothers to collide inside the octagon? For now, it seems that loyalty may just be the ultimate victory in a sport built on battles. But will it last, or will ambition win out in the end? Within Team Khabib, loyalty isn't just a virtue, it's a foundational rule. Fighters like Movsar Evloev and Islam Makhachev don't see each other as potential opponents, even when both are elite-level competitors in the UFC. Evloev openly stated that he would never fight Makhachev, referring to him as his older brother and saying, "This guy can kill me. I'm never going to fight him." This isn't just about fear of a tough matchup, it's about deep respect and unwavering loyalty that transcends professional ambition. These bonds are forged through years of training together, often starting from their earliest days in combat sports. They eat together, pray together, and support each other like family. So even when presented with hypothetical scenarios where fighting each other could elevate their careers, like a title unification bout or a champ versus champ showdown, they flat out reject the idea. In the cutthroat world of MMA, where most fighters would jump at the chance to headline a card or cement a legacy, this kind of loyalty is rare. But for Team Khabib, turning down those opportunities isn't seen as weakness. It's viewed as a badge of honor. It's a powerful reminder that for some fighters, personal principles and respect for their brothers outweigh the pursuit of fame, titles, or even historical greatness. This mindset reshapes how we think about success in MMA. It's not always about climbing over everyone to get to the top. Sometimes staying true to your values is the real victory. The deep connection between fighters like Islam Makhachev, Movsar Evloev, Belal Muhammad, and others in Team Khabib isn't just based on shared gym time. It's built on a powerful blend of cultural values, religious principles, and mutual respect. These fighters, many of whom come from Dagestan or other Muslim-majority regions, follow a code rooted in brotherhood, humility, and loyalty, values heavily emphasized in both their culture and their faith. Islam plays a central role in how they interact with one another. It's not uncommon for them to refer to each other as brothers, not just in a casual sense, but in a genuine, spiritual one. They pray together, observe the same practices during Ramadan, and hold a shared reverence for figures like Khabib Nurmagomedov, not just as a former champion, but as a moral leader and mentor. This creates a familial atmosphere that's more like a tribe than a fight team. Challenging each other inside the octagon would feel like betrayal, not competition. Movsar Evloev's comment that "Islam is my older brother" wasn't just metaphorical. It reflects a deeply ingrained hierarchy of respect where age, experience, and mentorship play a role in determining who steps forward and who steps aside. Even fighters outside of Dagestan, like Belal Muhammad from the US, have expressed the same commitment to this unspoken brotherhood. His close bond with Makhachev and Team Khabib shows how this philosophy extends beyond borders. It's not tied to nationality, but to shared values. This strong moral foundation strengthens the fighter's emotional discipline, work ethic, and unity, but it also draws a clear line. Personal ambition should never compromise the dignity of their brotherhood. While the brotherhood within Team Khabib brings unmatched camaraderie and support, it also presents a unique challenge when these fighters reach the top of their divisions and have to decide how far their ambitions can take them. Fighting for championships and climbing the ranks naturally comes with a level of competition, but when you're part of a tight-knit group that values loyalty and unity above all else, the lines between professional advancement and personal relationships become blurred. Take Islam Makhachev, for example. He is currently one of the most dominant lightweights in the UFC, and many fans and analysts predict that he could eventually move up to welterweight to challenge for another title. However, as Michael Bisping pointed out, this presents a moral conflict for Makhachev and his teammates. If Makhachev moves up to 170 pounds, he could potentially face other elite fighters with whom he shares a strong bond, such as Belal Muhammad or Shavkat Rakhmonov. All three fighters are Muslim, and all are associated with the same circle of mentorship under Khabib Nurmagomedov. This creates an awkward dilemma. Do they prioritize their personal, cultural, and religious values by maintaining their bond and refusing to fight each other? Or do they put career ambitions and legacy ahead of those principles and accept the possibility of fighting their brothers for the sake of titles and fame? For fighters like Makhachev, Evloev, and Muhammad, the answer often seems clear. They choose loyalty and respect over the cold pursuit of championships. While these fighters have their eyes on becoming the best in the world, their relationship with each other and their shared values take precedence. The notion of stepping into the octagon against someone they regard as family feels wrong, regardless of the stakes involved. In a sport like MMA, where competition is fierce and titles often define legacies, this is a rare stance, one that goes against the traditional idea of fighters relentlessly pushing for success at any cost. For Team Khabib, however, their ethical principles act as a safeguard against losing themselves in the pursuit of individual glory. From a business perspective, the UFC thrives on super fights, high-profile matchups between the biggest names in the sport that generate massive pay-per-view buys and global attention. Champion versus champion fights, like a potential showdown between Islam Makhachev and Movsar Evloev, or even Makhachev against Belal Muhammad, are highly marketable and eagerly anticipated by fans. However, the strong brotherhood within Team Khabib presents a significant challenge for the UFC's promotional goals. While fans may clamor for these highly anticipated matchups, the fighters themselves are not willing to sacrifice their personal bonds for the sake of the spectacle. As Movsar Evloev made clear, he would never fight Makhachev, even if the UFC offered him a title shot or the chance to solidify his legacy as one of the best in the division. For him, Makhachev is not just a fellow fighter, he is family. Evloev's loyalty to his older brother trumps any career ambition that might come from a headline fight. This puts the UFC in a difficult position. While the promotion would undoubtedly love to capitalize on the hype of such fights, these personal relationships make it nearly impossible to set up certain matchups. The UFC can book the fights, but it cannot force the fighters to accept them, especially when their personal principles come into play. The cultural and religious bonds between these fighters are a significant part of who they are, and they are not easily sacrificed for a payday or a title. Moreover, it's not just about a few individual fights. The situation creates a broader dilemma for the UFC as it looks toward the future. As more elite Muslim fighters emerge, the issue of matching them up against each other could become more common, especially if fighters from Team Khabib and similar circles rise to prominence. This could limit the UFC's ability to create the kinds of dream fights that drive the market, potentially forcing them to reconsider how they match up fighters in these special cases. The UFC's business model thrives on selling high-stakes, action-packed matchups, but what happens when fighters value loyalty and respect over money and fame? It's a tricky question that the promotion may have to face as this brotherhood continues to grow in the sport.